In the mid-18th century, the American colonies were thriving. Decades of minimal oversight from London allowed these seaports to grow into prosperous hubs of trade and local self-governance. That autonomy ended with the 7 Years' War. While Great Britain won the global conflict, the victory left the royal treasury burdened by a national debt that had nearly doubled during the fighting. This map shows the challenge. Britain held territories stretching far inland, requiring 10,000 soldiers to guard, costing £300,000 annually. To cover this, Parliament taxed the colonies directly. Ending hands-off oversight sparked the friction that led to resistance. This embossed stamp, showing the royal GR3 insignia, was the centerpiece of the 1765 Stamp Act. It was a direct mechanism to pull revenue from daily colonial life, requiring this mark on everything from newspapers to legal deeds. Parliament justified this through virtual representation. They argued that every member of Parliament represented the interests of the entire empire, meaning colonists were represented in spirit if not by a local vote. The colonists rejected this logic. They maintained that because they didn't elect members to Parliament, that body had no legal standing to tax them, leading to the demand for direct local representation. The issue was never just the cost of the stamps. If Parliament could bypass colonial assemblies once, they could strip away any constitutional right held by a British subject. To fight the Stamp Act, a secretive network of activists formed. Calling themselves the Sons of Liberty, they began coordinating resistance across the different colonies. They started with economic pressure by organizing widespread boycotts of British imports. This forced London's own merchant class to feel the financial weight of the tax. The tactic soon turned to physical intimidation. In Boston, an angry mob led by the group targeted the royal administration by gutting the home of Lieutenant Governor Thomas Hutchinson. This illustration shows the Liberty Tree, where the group gathered to terrorize officials. They used public displays, like hanging effigies of tax collectors, to force stamp distributors to resign their posts. The strategy worked. Every single tax distributor resigned before the act even took effect, proving that local intimidation could effectively paralyze imperial law. As this 1766 broadside shows, the pressure forced Parliament to rescind the Stamp Act. But while the headline reads, "Joy to America," the victory was short-lived. Britain immediately passed the Townshend Acts, taxing new goods like glass and tea, while sending a wave of customs officials to Boston to aggressively seize smuggled property. Resistance turned so hostile that the customs officials fled the city. In response, London sent 4 regiments of British troops to occupy Boston and enforced a law by bayonet. In March 1770, the tension broke. A crowd cornered a small squad of soldiers outside the customs house. Amidst the shouting and thrown projectiles, the troops fired into the crowd, killing 5 people. Paul Revere's engraving of the event was a masterclass in propaganda. He depicted the British as a synchronized firing line executing a peaceful crowd, framing a chaotic riot as a cold-blooded slaughter. The military presence meant to enforce order had provided a physical enemy, helping the Sons of Liberty radicalize the general public. In 1773, Parliament tried to save the nearly bankrupt East India Company by granting it a monopoly on the American tea market. This chart shows the strategy. By dropping the price of British tea below the smuggled Dutch tea, the act was designed to lure colonists into paying the tax, all wiping out local American competition. The Sons of Liberty blocked the ships from unloading in Boston. If the tea stayed on the ships, the tax couldn't be collected, but if it landed, the precedent of British monopoly would be set. This illustration captures the result. Radicals boarded the vessels and destroyed 342 crates of tea, tossing them directly into the harbor. This surviving chest is a physical reminder of the stakes. By destroying nearly £10,000 worth of private property, the Sons of Liberty pushed the dispute into a phase of economic warfare. This portrait of King George III reflects the uncompromising reaction from London. Parliament passed the Intolerable Acts, a series of laws intended to isolate and punish Massachusetts. They closed Boston's port to all trade and stripped the colony of its charter, placing the entire government under direct military control. The British made a strategic error. They believed that crushing Boston would intimidate the other colonies into submission. Instead, the laws terrified the rest of the continent. Delegates from 12 colonies met here at Carpenter's Hall, forming the First Continental Congress to organize a unified response. In an effort to violently suppress a local rebellion, Great Britain had forced the colonies to build the very intercolonial alliance they had avoided for a century. The escalation ended at Lexington Green on April 19, 1775. A British mission to seize a cache of colonial weapons led to a standoff where someone, on one side or the other, fired the first shot. This skirmish triggered a year of rapid development. The British were forced into a siege within Boston, while the Second Continental Congress met to form a unified Continental Army, naming George Washington its commander. The revolution was the result of a deliberate, escalating feedback loop. The Sons of Liberty took local grievances and built the infrastructure for a coordinated intercolonial resistance.